Chapter 26, World War II. Section 3, War in Europe and North Africa. Roosevelt and Winston Churchill had been working on a plan to defeat the Axis powers. Their priority was to defeat the Germans. New technologies were developed that will help the Allies defeat the Axis powers, like sonar, which would use sound waves to detect objects underwater, and long-range aircraft, which allowed Allies to drop bombs on German factories, railroads, and cities. The first part of defeating Hitler would be to invade North Africa. And in 1942, the German Afrika Korps offensive against Egypt. That means the Germans were attacking the Allies in Egypt. The British stopped them at the Battle of El Alamein. Then U.S. and British troops combined, led by Dwight Eisenhower, advanced from Morocco and Algeria to defeat the Germans. So the British had them on one side, the Americans on the other side. They had the Germans surrounded, and it was a victory for the Allies. In 1943, the Allied forces invaded Sicily and headed to the mainland of Italy, slowly moving northward along the west coast. So if you're looking at the map, here's Africa, North Africa. They go to Sicily and then head to the toe of the boot of Italy, as well as going to the central part of Italy. All along the western coast, they would take over places. By 1944, Allied forces had captured Rome. By the time the Allies had gotten to Rome, Italian freedom fighters had already captured Benito Mussolini and had him executed. They kind of hung him by his feet, and then they shot him. Nice way to get him. On the Eastern Front, you have massive German and Soviet armies battling on the Eastern Front, and by mid-1942, the Axis powers had driven deep into the Soviet Union. German and Soviet forces fight in something called the Battle of Stalingrad, which lasted for months and saw savage street fighting. German supplies began running low, and during the harsh winter of the Soviet Union, thousands of German soldiers froze or starved to death. In January of 1943, the German commander surrendered. As a result of the Battle of Stalingrad, over 1 million Soviet soldiers were killed, and over 800,000 Axis soldiers were dead. The victory came at an enormous cost. Now, Eisenhower had been spending months planning a massive invasion of Europe to liberate it from Hitler. So on June 6, 1944, the Allies decided that was the day to invade, and it became known as DDay, or Designated Day. And it saw American, British, and Canadian forces invading France in the largest sea invasion in history. The Americans will land on 2 of the 5 beaches that were on a place called Normandy in northern France. The 2 beaches they landed on were codenamed Utah and Omaha. And Omaha saw the fiercest fighting, as well as one of the British beaches. Almost 3,000 soldiers were either killed or wounded at Omaha Beach alone. But by the end of the day, all 5 Normandy beaches were taken or secured by the Allies. And now the Allies can begin moving eastward toward Germany. So let's look at this picture here of the 5 beaches. Here's the Utah Beach. Here's Omaha Beach in northern France. You have Gold Beach. That's one of the British beaches. The Canadians invaded at Juno Beach. And another second British division invaded at Sword Beach. All 5 were taken, and now they can start moving this direction toward Germany. That is the end of Section 3.